I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm thankful that you're here with us on this Friday, October the 3rd, 2025. I can't believe that the time has gone as fast as it has. Summer is now behind us. The 2025 summer that is no longer. The fall is here. Halloween is upon us. Thanksgiving first. But if you're Canadian, American Thanksgiving after that. And incredible how time flies these days. Yeah, is it just me? Like by the time we come on Monday, almost a week of October will be behind us. It's incredible. I just can't believe how fast time is flying. And I can't believe it's just me who thinks that way either. But it is what it is. Get your winter tires on, I guess, is the only advice I could say. Or make sure to get your appointment for your winter tires sooner than later, because before you know it, the snow will be here. And we'll talk about the weather coming up very shortly. We're live on CKLU, 96.7 FM on the radio. We're streaming live at cklu.ca. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News. youtube.com/Sudbury News. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. Then we'll be found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator. We created that in answer to the federal government's policies that now makes it impossible to share any type of news whatsoever on the world's largest social media platform, Facebook, and also Instagram, which Meta owns both. And which I still think to this day is pretty interesting, and no one talks about it anymore. No one says, you know what, why can't we get back to sharing news on Facebook? I think that's a pretty important way to communicate with each other, so we're all in the know of things. But no word from it. I guess journalists aren't making the money that the federal government was hoping that we could make off of Meta, which no journalist was complaining about in the first place. We were happy to be able to just share our news, but the government stepped in and said, no, we're thinking for you. We want to know, or we want to decide for you what we think is best for you. And isn't that kind of like what governments do in general, interestingly enough? Hopefully we'll connect some of those dots in our deep dive today. And Mike Parent made some comments, I think, that were, they keep resonating through my mind. From when he was on the show, he goes, I know a lot of people like to dislike government. And I just, that resonates with me. And it's not true. I don't go out searching to dislike government. It's just, if the government makes a decision that I don't agree with, I would wish to express my dislike and explain why I dislike it. That's it. Done. I don't dislike government. I dislike some of the things that they do. And then the reasons they give for the things they do. I like some things the government does. Can't think of any at the moment. Nothing really comes to mind. Because all we basically focus on, the things that are going on, which are pretty ominous these days in the government world. It's getting to the point. History repeats itself, so you can just imagine what part of history we're in right now that's repeating itself. We're in a cycle, There's a cycle that continuously happens in history where a civilization becomes humble because of circumstances, whether it be they're oppressed or the economy is not the greatest, or there's a war or a world war, and everything is in chaos, and then people are brought to their knees basically, and they're like, we need help. We need to start building a life so that way we can protect ourselves from this chaos that we're going through right now. And then they turn to correct principles that help them build a sustainable society. And then things start getting really good because they built a really good society built on sound principles. And then they start kind of getting bored, I guess. Things are too good. They need some kind of action in their lives. They need some type of opposition. So they start turning to diverse kind of things and stuff. And before you know it, society starts crumbling, and those principles they built their society on start being questioned and start being taken down. And then it turns into the same type of chaos that brought them to making the sound decisions that they did, building their society strongly as they have, and it crumbles. And then the cycle returns again. They get chaos, they get war, they get all kinds of things that aren't good. And then they're humbled again. And then they go, wow, what just went wrong? And they take inventory and went, wait a minute, we can't let this happen again. And the cycle continues. And unless we realize that cycle and not repeat it again, we'll just keep repeating history. And that's all there is to it. So I'd like to encourage everyone to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening, as usual. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're going to dive in with a little bit of weather, and then we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca as usual. Currently it's 8 degrees, so it's rather cool out there. It's partly cloudy. And today we can expect it to be mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers this afternoon. Fog patches dissipating in the morning, and then the wind will be moderate. High of 23, so it'll be warm enough today. 30% chance of showers early this evening, then clearing in the evening. Fog patches developing after midnight. And then tomorrow, becoming a mix of sun and cloud. Where's all the sun that was forecast like 3 days ago? All there was sun for the next 4 days. Now, that's not what's going on. So becoming a mix of sun and cloud in the morning, 30% chance of showers in the afternoon, fog patches dissipating in the morning. This is for tomorrow. High of 26, humidex will be 30. So very warm tomorrow. That's Saturday. And as you can see, the forecast, 30% chance of showers with the humidex will be 30 tomorrow. And then a mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, which it was supposed to be sunny. That was in the forecast yesterday. So I guess our sun is no longer in the forecast. And then Monday, 30% chance of showers. High of 24, still warm. And then it starts to get cooler again. High of 16 on Tuesday with a 30% chance of showers. Wednesday, 11 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. And also same thing on Thursday. However, the high is 14 degrees. So weather is interesting. Did you notice the interesting weather yesterday? If you were able to look up in the sky and see the crisscrossy residue, the contrails, if you will, from the jets that stay in the sky all day and then form clouds, and it's totally cloudy after the day. It was supposed to be sunny yesterday if it wasn't for the jet fuel that was sprayed over us throughout the area in the region. But I just hope people just notice it, like the big long lines, and then you look 15 minutes later and it's a cloud. Like, that's just not natural. It's man-made. And we talk about it at length on this show. And for some reason, there's still people that still don't know what's going on. And I'm not sure why, but just know that it is. And I really appreciate the movement, the Stop the Spray movement, which at least sheds light that they are spraying. Now, that's for a particular different type of spraying. That's glyphosate spraying in our forests. You'd have to question why they're spraying glyphosates in our forests. It's known to cause cancer. Quebec has outlawed it. A lot of other countries have outlawed it. So that's one type of spraying, but this other type of spraying that's going on, there's all kinds of metals, barium, aluminum, you name it, in the spray that's being sprayed over us. We're breathing that in. What other things are we breathing in? What happens when we breathe in heavy metals that are being sprayed over us? I guess just the future will tell. But in the meantime, it would just be nice to know that people are aware enough of what's going on directly over your head almost on a daily basis. And I would say today's probably no exception to that. Yesterday definitely wasn't, and the day before either. It was supposed to be a pristine, sunny day without the jet fuel causing the overcast skies yesterday. Pay attention to that. Look into it on your own if that interests you. And if you're just happy not knowing anything, that's good too. Continue on. And life is great. And ignorance is bliss. And it's fine. Honestly, it is. Because I love the idea that we live in a free society where we can do that. That's just the way it is. I love it. I love anyone being able to make choices from their own free will. That's the kind of society I'm for. But just wanted to give anyone a heads up who's interested in that kind of stuff and continue being able to do that. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, and thanks for sticking around, everyone, as we dive into what's going on in our region and just say hello to a lot of the people that are on right now on this Friday. Everyone's happy for the weekend, I'm pretty sure. Nana, good morning to you. Blessings, everyone. Heart emoji, much appreciated. And Judy on Facebook, good morning to you. Belinda, good morning. We are not promised calm seas, only strength to sail them. Now, if that isn't an awesome thought of the day, we're not promised calm seas, only the strength to sail them. So that is, opposition builds character. Don't expect to get in the ring and not get hit. You know, life is not easy, but it's worth it if you just get in there, get your hands dirty, live it, embrace it, take challenges on, try to find ways to cope with things and to overcome things in our lives. Hazel, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Lorraine, as well as Maurice. Got some great smiley emojis, positive emojis from everyone. Liette, good morning. Everyone from Collingwood, good morning to you, Liette. Hope everything's doing well in that beautiful town of yours. And Belinda, government controls the news. They all need the same script, or they all read the same script. That's true. Good morning, Bob. Thanks for being on this morning. And Suzanne, good morning to you. Oh, and Liette also says it's not a matter of disliking government. It's a matter of not trusting government. They have lied and betrayed far too many times. So again, right, this whole thing of hating the government, as you know, Mike Perrant kind of alluded to, that possibly our listenership or our viewership, our audience, or at least a lot of those that come on and comment, the sentiments that we have, right? Like one thing, for instance, I found out that Sudbury, the way they pave their roads is they just skim off the top layer of the pavement and they put on a nice Band-Aid of top layer pavement. And that's the way we pave in Sudbury. And then the snowplows come along and they scrape the top off and it creates potholes, and then that gets deep down, and the layers beneath never get fixed, and so the roads are always in a state of disrepair. That's the truth. That's coming from people who know what's going on in the city. And then you talk to someone from the city, and then they say, no, that's not what happens. We do everything right. And we also use an inferior type of asphalt when we pave our roads. We just do. That's a fact. If you talk to experts, that's what happens. But just blatantly in our faces, the people from the city will deny it and say it's something else. It's incredible. I don't understand. So stuff like that, like if you can't be frustrated having a conversation with someone when you just, you're saying it's sunny out. Yeah, it's really sunny out today, right? No, it's not. It's cloudy. It's like, what? It's not cloudy right now. It's sunny. Like you would be, if someone just kept doing that to you, you'd eventually go, something's wrong here. And maybe you need some medical attention or speak to, someone who's an expert, because, and it's been known that I just watched a Netflix documentary on the mafia in Toronto, very close to home, the history of it, and it continues today. And law enforcement can't do anything about it. Why not? Because the system's set up for it. And every city has its form of corruption. It's built in, it's baked in to the model of the city and the finances, right? That's why they don't want a third-party audit. That's why they don't want an audit of the city, because it will expose a lot of these payouts that are being paid, and who's this being paid to, and why are they getting paid? What are we getting for this, right? So they can't have it. They can't have an audit because it will just expose all of that. And it's working right now. It's working for a few people. And construction is a huge form. When there's corruption in a city, that's the way that it's kind of done through. And as long as our city roads are constantly needing to be repaired, the owners of the construction companies and whatever, they'll constantly get the work to do it, and this money can keep flowing, right? So that's the reason. And for someone to say people don't like government because they know that's what's going on, and then we're being lied to from the people that are taking our money to do this, by the way, taking our money. So people can be frustrated, and you would be frustrated too if you weren't part of it. You would be frustrated with it. And that's normal. It's very normal for people to have that sentiment. And good morning, Miles. I don't think Mike was painting a broad brush. He said certain individuals on here dislike government. Okay, thanks for that too, Miles. I really appreciate it. And yes, you are right. He would have said that. And so right away I would have went, oh, what does he mean by that, right? But I still think I'm still saying the same things, even if certain people don't. Why don't they? Like, where are they getting this dislike for government? I hope I was okay in explaining that. Pierrette, well, we are force-fed what they didn't declare, what they do in election promises. So election promises made, and not too many are delivered. If you go back, and I wish media could hold politicians accountable. It'd be really great. 6 months in, Mayor Paul Lefebvre said he would do this, said he would do that. Let's see if he's doing it. Or Mark Carney, or, Doug Ford, any of the leaders of our nation, province, or city. And the media just go back and look at election promises and say, how are they going? How are they doing with those things? It's pretty simple, and that would help voters to kind of keep in the know of what's going on and how they should vote the next time. Belinda says the only reason he said that statement is because it's a blanket statement given by a member of government at all levels. What a big disappointment. Our council members had the power to make Sudbury a thriving community. That's Belinda. Jerome, good morning to you. Lately, not much government does it. Okay, lately, not much the government does it, not for the people. So I know when some people are typing and stuff, and I just read what's typed. You have autocorrect and stuff like that, but I'm trying to just say The government isn't really doing it for the people these days. I'll just sum it up as that. And Pat, good morning to you. Northern Hillbilly, good morning, people. Lorraine, good morning. And government has gotten too big, too many fingers in the pot. Time to trim the fat. And again, a lot of people have this sentiment. It's not just a few people. Belinda says, insinuating that this audience doesn't like government is the same as saying we are anti-vax. It's getting a little old and tiring. Well, again, name calling and putting people in groups or whatever. But yeah, and again, thanks, Miles, for pointing out that he said there's a few people or whatever. There's some people that have dislike for government. I'm included in that because I dislike some things that the government does. Many things they do that we talk about all the time here. I hope I make a good argument of why it's not liked. Like the Facebook thing, for example. I'd love to be able to take Facebook articles and share them on my news feed for, from CTV, CBC, Sudbury.com, Sudbury Star, and just share them and get the conversation going about news stories. But I'm not allowed to share news on Facebook anymore. That's a government policy. That's something the government did directly in my life. It affects my life directly. It's a passion that I have, and that's news and talking about it. So I have a dislike for what they did. They said it was to make journalists more money. I think that was a lie. I think that's because they didn't really want news to be shared as much. And it was just before the election. The timing was very significant. So if people got news that was shared very easily from everywhere, people could make up in their own minds when they see the news. Wait a minute, what? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And people share the news stories that are they're most passionate about. They don't share the little stories that, only parents care about their kids at the soccer game and the scores and things like that. That's great. But the things that people are passionate about that affect their lives, that change their life, they're going to share those things. And they're going to say, you know what, this is going on. You should look into this. So the government put a stop to that. And they said it was because they wanted to make journalists more money. Well, journalists aren't making any more money right now. You don't hear anyone talking about it. When was the last time you heard a politician talking about, we got to make sure we get Meta back to the table so we can get these journalists paid more money? They just took your tax dollars and paid the journalists themselves and said, hey, you know where this money's coming from, right? You know the hand that's feeding, right? You're not going to bite it, right? So that's what ended up happening. And what kind of country is that when the government is paying the journalists? It becomes state-sponsored media. So what happens in countries with state-sponsored media? What kind of country is that? Again, these are just the questions we have about the decisions that our government makes. And can we question? Can we find it to be not to our benefit? I think I just explained it quite articulately of why I don't like that policy the government made. Do I hate the people in the government? Do I, whatever? I dislike the decisions, a lot of the decisions that are made. Okay, enough of that drum. So Sudbury Star in their newsletter this morning, I guess the mayor spoke at a luncheon yesterday. Let's get this up on the screen. And anyways, so first story here is the Sudbury police say that they're committed to a safe, revitalized downtown. Greater Sudbury Police are continuing to address issues of safety and drug use in the downtown core, the service said on Thursday, yesterday. This has included a heightened presence of officers in the area, strategies to ensure all citizens feel welcome and secure in public spaces. So, as Bob chimed in here this morning saying good morning, as Rogue here is doing the same. Good morning, Rogue. We need to do something about our downtown, so the police are going to increase their presence downtown, and that's something they've decided to do to make downtown feel safer. I can't see it not making it feel safer if people are downtown and they can see, a police presence. They would feel a little safer. Good morning, Marianne. Liked and shared as usual. Much appreciated for that. So that was out. And then the mayor, speaking at a luncheon, said Sudbury needs help dealing with our crises. Plural, right? We have many crises downtown. Homelessness, addiction, crime, mental health. And then we have other crises too. On top of those crises everywhere. City of Sudbury is doing all it can to deal with the community's homelessness, addictions, and mental health challenges, Mayor Paul Lefebvre says. And while the city will do more, Paul Lefebvre said it needs more help from the provincial and federal governments. Nothing helps like more money. More money will help. And this is the thing that I've always been a critic of, the idea that money will solve our problems. Money without a plan will not solve problems. However, a plan first and then money could. I'll give you an example. I taught at a business consulting firm, best job I've had in my whole entire life. And we taught business startups the basic principles of a business plan. And we had entrepreneurs who taught them and then mentored them. So we had a 6-week in-class business program. And we went through every aspect of a business plan while the entrepreneurs, the people that were starting their businesses, would build their business plan and actually in real time go out and start their businesses. And one of the segments that we talked about and taught, David, good morning to you. David Sylvester in the house. Good morning to you. One of the things we talked about was building a marketing plan as if you had all the money in the world. Money was no object. What would you do if you wanted to promote your business? Right? Okay. And then just brainstorm. Because a lot of times you think, make a marketing plan, but then you self-edit your thoughts and you say, well, no, I couldn't do that because I don't have the money, or no, that's impossible. No. Think of everything you would do to promote your business if money wasn't an option. After you do that exercise, now think of what you could still do. And a lot of the things didn't include money. A lot of the brainstorming ideas didn't include money, or they could do something similar or just tweak it a little bit and it would cost less. So what could you do? How could you do this on a budget? And you know what the end result was? Magic. Now it's easy when you're the only person making the decision in your life. And Trad Life here, good morning to you. 729 employees on the Sunshine List, getting paid over $100,000 a year. Let's start with them. Government employees you're referring to. And yeah, no, definitely we've got to start with that. Our labor force is the hugest expense we have in Sudbury for our budget. We have a lot of people making a lot of money, and the city needs an audit. That's it. If I was to run for mayor, which I'm not going to, I would say this city needs an audit. Let's start from there. Let's start from where we're at and then work our way up. And Sean here from Jerky Plus joining in. First time I've seen you on and commenting, Sean. Remember when you did a small story on the owner of Jerky Plus? Yeah, wondering what's going on in the sky? I did. I do. Does everyone see what's going on? The government sadly wants this big crisis. I'm going to hold a sign to collect money for my kids' education. But yeah, I get charged. But wait, I'll go out there for drug money or other and I'm okay. It's upside down. So everything in our society is inverted. The principles I talked about at the beginning of the show, that when our society is in crisis, there's a war, there's just chaos or whatever, we build up our society on correct principles after that, and then everything starts getting good. We start having prosperity and everything is good, and then we get comfortable and we start getting prideful about everything. We start losing the sense of what brought us this fortune to begin with, all these correct principles we built things on. And then things start going backwards. And that's where we're at right now. We're inverting everything. Everything is kind of backwards in our society. But thanks for chiming in, Sean. And thanks for all the things you do. You run a great business and you're not afraid to get out there and speak your mind and see things as they really are. You're a true leader in the community. So thank you for that. New word of the day, liberals, to fool us, it's austerity. So austerity is the new word of the day. That's what Miles is saying. Yeah, and businesses that are thriving won't get money. That's kind of funny. And you know what? I talked about that here. I said, I don't like the way the country thinks of business because we got government funding as a way of investing in our businesses. They should get out of the business game. So what happens is a business like you, let's say I want to start a jerky business, Sean. I know nothing about jerky, but I know everything about writing a government proposal for money. And I say, you know what? This jerky business is doing great. I think I want to start a jerky business too. And I'm great at writing a grant proposal. I get $150,000, $250,000, $500,000 to start a jerky business and now go in competition with you. Where's the fairness in that? But that's the way our country operates. And then you go, wait a minute, look, I'm showing you I'm running a really great business. I'm doing everything right, blah, blah, blah. No money for you, right? So it is backwards. It doesn't make any sense. And again, these are the things that we don't talk about on the show. And David's saying, why not run? Why don't you run, David? You already did. I remember when you ran, I think it was for count. No, you ran for like provincial and federal politics. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have the money or time for that. And I don't trust the process. That's me. It's just me. It's my opinion. Like, I don't trust that everyone's votes get counted in a way that's trustworthy. I think I could spend all kinds of money running for mayor, and I think something nefarious will happen behind the scenes. Like the time when we had, we voted online, I think Mayor Bigger, and we had 500 people contesting and wanted to run for mayor too, which made him get elected again. I thought it was a strategy. We had a lot of people running for mayor. So what happens is Mayor Bigger was the only known name out of all the candidates. And then there were so many other candidates, it watered down everyone's votes and he got in. But do you remember what happened? It was the first time we voted online. Everything shut down. The whole thing shut down. So how can you have confidence in a system like that? And what was going on while it was shut down? Like, what? Voter confidence, that's a huge thing in a democratic society. And unfortunately, United States, Canada, Sudbury, we've dropped the ball on that. And it doesn't help with voter confidence one bit. Sean's saying, got to see how big corporations are just taking, for example, corporate welfare, right? For example, we had 2 machines go down, and this is at Jerky Plus, and we had insurance for that. But unfortunately, I'm paying out of pocket, and they won't even, though they're obligated to the contract. Corruption. I remember I had a restaurant chain, and our main location had a leak, flood. I had to close the restaurant down. So all of our food, it only lasts so many days, all went bad, blah, blah, blah. the insurance dragged their heels so long that it put us out of business. The insurance company that we had. Insane. Like I know what you're talking about. I hear you. I feel your pain. So with that, Mayor Paul Lefebvre saying that residents and business deserve a safe, welcoming streets and public spaces, and those struggling with homelessness and addiction and mental health deserve dignity, care, and support, Lefebvre told a luncheon hosted by the Rotary Club. So hopefully we'll see how they deal with our homeless situation here in the city. But yeah, if I was to run for mayor, maybe David can be my campaign manager. If I didn't have to pay anything and go into debt or whatever, I might just do it just for the experience of it. But I would just run on one thing, an audit of the city. We're just going to audit the city. We're going to get a third party, audit. Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. Arm's length audit of the city. We're going to start with that. And then we're going to look at holes and misspending and efficiencies. And we're going to get things fiscally on track. And we're going to run the city the way a city should be run. And we're going to be proud of it. We're going to say, look where Sudbury came, just like the reclamation, the land reclamation. When we had no trees, it was just rock. It was no soil, no nothing. And we brought it back from that. I would use that as a metaphor for we're the most in-debt city in Canada, but watch what we're going to do now. We're going to turn this bus right around. That's all I'd say. We're going to fix our roads the way roads need to be fixed. We're going to hire people the way people should be hired. We're not going to overspend where we don't need to. And stuff like that. And then watch how Paul Lefebvre just gets reelected. Right? Because that's the way it works. Because we don't have the power to get in and control how the voting is counted and all that stuff. There's other people doing that. A forensic audit is needed. Sean, that is 100%. Yes, true. Diane, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Jimmy, holy cow. First time I've seen you on the show. This is a great show this morning. Got a lot of friends on here I don't see very often. So that's awesome. Okay, so David is going to help me run whatever. Look, that's just a joke, guys, for sure. Anyways, so let's check in with the Blender guys for a bit of a deep dive, and then we have to head out here or not. So I don't even have time for the Blender guys this morning. Maybe we'll keep it for Monday. It's all the time we got for the show this morning. I really appreciate everyone being on. Got to take the grandson to school this morning. I'm not home all the time, and it's a treat to be able to do that for me this morning. So I got to run. Thanks for being on, everyone. And thanks for all you guys. We got Friday Terry on. I thought cities in Canada couldn't run deficits. Thanks for being on. All the new people that are on this morning, thanks for being on. Everyone who's usually on, thank you guys too. It was a great show this morning. Well, thanks, David. Appreciate it. And all y'all, have a great and safe, wonderful weekend. Remember to stay aware. Like, share, take care. And Earshot Daily's coming up next on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms. God willing, on Monday. So it's been my pleasure to be with you today and have this conversation. It was a great one, as usual. And we'll see you on Monday. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.